Hello, I'm Mr. Daniel Ozeku. I'm from Cote d'Ivoire and currently I'm working in Bamako, Mali with the Norwegian Refugee Council as a program officer. Before tackling the questions submitted to my analysis, I would like to greet Professor Larry Diamond for his course on democratic development. I'm really grateful to Professor Diamond for his availability, for his dedication for democracy, and I would like really to greet him. And let me say that, well, I'm a political analyst and I used to publish critical articles in my country. And today I have the opportunity to reflect on democracy. Well, democracy is a very important element in our modern governance. So, what democracy means for me? Democracy has two important elements. The first one is how people, our political leaders are elected. The second one is how leaders govern the country. I think political leaders should be chosen, should be elected through regular, fair, and credible elections. It's very important. Without democracy, how can we choose our leaders? How can we choose in our modern society? How can we choose our leaders? This is the question. And democracy help us, give us the way, give us the rule, give us the opportunity to choose our leaders. So democracy, first of all, our people, our leaders are elected. So these elections should be regular, fair, and credible, and also transparent. Very important. The second element is how people govern when they are power, when they are elected, how they govern the states. This is important. In this way, we talk about good governance. We talk about civil liberties, freedom of speech, freedom of press, rule of law. These elements are very important. So, democracy, let me say, is elections, but is also good governance. And for me, a good leader should have qualities, democratic qualities. What are these qualities? First of all, a leader that I vote for should be able to gather people, to gather all the population around him. He should allow cross-cutting cultures, cross-cutting relations in the country, because it's very important. When I take the example of our African countries, we have many ethnic groups, and these ethnic groups are, are very important in the construction of democracy in our states. So all these ethnic groups should gather around the leader, in order to have peace, to have stability, to have social cohesion. And this cross-cutting issue, cross-cutting culture should be allowed by the leader that I vote for. I think it's very important. So what we realize in our countries, in our fragile countries, in our anti-democratic country, is that our leaders govern the states as their own family. They govern the state for the ethnic clan. They govern the states for the tribes. This is not acceptable in our modern societies. So the leader that I vote for should have the capacity to gather all the people. This is very important for me. And the problem that confronts our countries in transition for democracy is bad governance. Bad governance. We realize that there is a bad way of governing our countries, and this bad governance is enlightened through anti-democratic ways of governing a country. I mean, when one part of a population is rejected, one part of population experience prejudice, when one part of the population is rejected, I think that this kind of governing our states is the threat for democracy. So, another important thing that confronts our countries in transitional for democracy is the lack of political will. Political will is something very important. Political will to build institution, political will to change, to implement reforms, political will to, well, catalyze change in the country. This is very, very important. So, in our countries, as we see, there is bad governance, there is lack of political will, there is lack of trust in our institution. And let me say that the international community can play an important role in strengthening democracy in fragile states. Doing what? They can help trust in our institution. If people don't trust in their own institution, if leaders don't trust in their own institution, if we don't build a strong institution through trust, I think that it is a problem. And this problem confronts our modern society, our countries in transition for democracy. The lack of trust So today, the international community, the global community should help fragile states build strong institutions. You know what we experience in Ivory Coast. We know that election is a competition, and in competition there is expression of violence. There is well, people want to win the election, but when the institution decide the result, the final result, I think if people trust the institution, they should accept. So it is not the role of international community to delegate these institutions. So we can never build strong institution through the delegation of our institution. We cannot build good and strong institution if we don't trust this institution. And I think that it is the role of the international community to support, to sustain, and to help build strong institutions in our fragile states. Regarding how internet and new technologies change my involvement in civil society, let me tell you that I belong to the civil society in my country. I'm a former chairman of the NGO called International Conference for Nonviolence and Democracy, and also I'm a former founding director of the Martin Luther King Center for Peace and Social Justice. And internet and new technologies help me to be connected with the other civil society in the world. I belong to ADF network. I belong to MENEP network. I belong to Global Youth Anti-Corruption Network. Hence, these networks, these civil society organizations through the world help me to share knowledge, to share, my understanding, to share my hope, to share my experiences regarding democracy, regarding social issues. So internet is very important. It is through this tool that we participate to a course delivered by Professor Larry Diamond. Without this course, we wouldn't have this great opportunity to study with these great teachers like Professor Diamond. And I would like to greet him, I would like to thank him for this opportunity. And let me end my analysis by this very important statement. Democracy should be built not only through election, through rule of law, good governance, but first, democracy principle should be an aspiration, should be built in the minds of people, because it is in the mind of people that rise war, that rise violence. So it is in our minds that we should build democracy. We should build trust for democracy. We should build legitimacy for democracy. We should build our commitment for democracy. This kind of teaching, this kind of course are very important. And I think that new generation should be educated, should be trained in democratic principle. Because in Africa, for instance, we need new leadership, we need change, and should this change can be implemented, this change can be triggered by new leadership. This leadership should be implemented, should be catalyzed by new generation. And we are very happy as leaders, as young leaders, to have this opportunity to learn democracy principle, to be exposed to democracy principle. So I like to encourage Professor Light Diamond, to encourage Stanford University, to encourage all the universities that allow people through the way to learn through internet. Thank you very much for listening to me.